Hey guys, it's Rich. I wanted to do a quick video. Hopefully I can make it a quick video. But I want to address some cursing, hexing, banishing, and binding. Uh, I wanted to cover that topic. If any of you are familiar with the Stanford case, it is a rape case that the person really, to most standards, or to most people, has gotten off quite easily. And it angered a lot of people, especially apparently a group of witches who thought it was a good idea. Well, one person thought it was a good idea, let me put it that way, to post on Facebook or make a Facebook group encouraging people to take part in a public hexing of the rapist. Now, I'm not too involved with the Stanford case. And the only reason that I really started looking into it was because of Kara, aka QWitch772. If you are not subscribed to her, go ahead and subscribe to her because, yes, she did a great video. This person decided to put up this Facebook group, offered a sample hex, and encouraged others to hex at the same time. And it actually bothered me quite a lot that there are so many witches out there that would so frivolously, without question, do a hexing on somebody. It's not something that should ever be taken lightly. Banishing and binding somebody is still not something to be taken lightly, and I would say that's a lesser degree. It's a more passive way of protecting or, making somebody deal with their stuff. Even that, to me, is taken very seriously. And it really bothered me that so many witches out there, or proclaimed witches, would be so frivolous in their actions without questioning the repercussions that would come, and would just follow this one person that I believe is a high priestess, and I could be wrong on that. It really bothered me that so many people would do that. Whenever you're talking hexes and curses, you're talking about interfering with somebody's free will. Even whenever it comes to banishing and binding, you're talking about messing with somebody's free will. Now, if they are attacking you physically or spiritually or mentally, then you have every right to defend yourself. However, before you defend yourself, I have a few questions that you should ask, along with questions that you may come up with that are in addition to this, and anybody that comments below can add to the question list that you should probably ask yourself before doing any of these types of spells. The first question is, am I keeping them from harming another, or am I inflicting harm? If you are inflicting harm, then yeah, I definitely have a problem with that. Just because we can cause harm to somebody for whatever reason doesn't necessarily mean that we should cause harm. The second question is, am I approaching the spell work with the level head of balance that a witch should? We often talk about balance, the balance of good and evil, the balance of right and wrong, and each of us have our own moral compass. Keeping that balance is something that many of us strive for. Are you keeping a balanced mindset on what you're doing? If you are completely emotional, that is not necessarily the best time to do spell work. So, I encourage anybody that is facing this type of situation to really think with a level head. The third question: what makes me above the law if I choose to inflict pain? In this sample hex, the sample curse that this person posted, and I don't have the curse in front of me, and I really wouldn't want to read it anyway, because words do have power, as we all know. Inflicting pain was one of the parts of the sample hex that was posted, the sample curse that was posted. So, what makes me above the law of inflicting this person with pain? And that leads me into the fourth question. What makes me in the right to dish out pain to another and not be held accountable? There are no Wiccan police, there are no pagan police, there's no magical community police that will put you under arrest for casting a spell. So with that, we all come to our own moral compass. What makes you in the right to cause pain to another, to inflict this pain on another? In my way of looking at it, unless you are a deity, you have no bearing to inflict pain on somebody else. Certainly you could, but it does not mean you should. In addition to that, something else that really ticked me off is some of the comments that I saw that were posted on Tumblr. Raymond Buckland, Uncle Bucky, you know, from Uncle Bucky's Big Blue Book. Yeah. Raymond Buckland is an 81-year-old Wiccan who pretty much, along with him and Scott Cunningham, pretty much brought paganism, or Wicca, to America. He posted on Tumblr that this is not what a witch should do. This is something that, you know, we could do, but shouldn't do, was his basis. And he actually made his argument of we should be putting out peace into the world, that we should not be putting out even more pain into the world. That's not what a witch is to do. And I really agreed with him. But what really angered me was some of the comments that were left on Tumblr after he posted that. Some people saying, is this guy even relevant? Has he even published a book in this century? Ugh. It was such vile comments left on Tumblr. And it really pained me to see that. Because this guy is one of the forefathers of paganism in the United States. Without him bringing out his Big Blue Book, whether you find everything relevant or whether you pick it apart and use some here and use some there, many authors base their practice on Uncle Bucky's Big Blue Book, along with Scott Cunningham's Guide for the Solitary Practitioner. You know, they kind of revolutionized the pagan media. So to sit there and talk down to somebody like that, especially somebody that's 81 years old, for you to talk down to somebody like that really should not be something that even crosses your mind. A guy like Raymond Buckland should be met with respect. The respect that he has gained in the community and the respect that he deserves to be given. So it really pained me to see some of the comments that were left on Tumblr. Some people asked whether he was still relevant in paganism. And I'll tell you what, any of the people that posted that or posted anything even similar to that, my question is, are you even relevant to paganism? Because if you're going out and you're just hexing and cursing people all willy-nilly, yeah, you really need to look at what your practice is and what you're doing to others. I'm not really worried what people may do to hex me or curse me in any way. I usually keep my shields pretty well secured, so yeah. That's not really something that I really worry about for me. But whenever somebody's putting that stuff out there, it's something that's really got to be looked at. And you got to ask yourself, really, what are you doing with your practice? What do you want to be known for? What type of imprint are you putting on the universe? And why would you want to do that? Is it to think that you mean something? Because if you're putting out this much hate, you really don't mean anything. But that's just a little rant and my little 2 cents on the whole mass hexing. Oh, another thing. Why in the world would they all talk about it right after doing it? That's another thing I want to say. I do spell work, and I won't talk about it until everything's come to fruition, until it's fully worked its way through. And then I will say something about it. Even then, I don't usually mention any of my spell work. I take my spell work very seriously, and apparently these people do not if they are speaking about it right after, because for me, at least, whenever I think of people speaking of their spell work, it takes that energy away from the actual spell. So, in essence, I guess I am kind of glad that they were talking about it so openly afterwards, because it dwindled down their energy towards the individual. And by no means think that I'm sticking up for this rapist. In no way am I sticking up for what he did. But I certainly don't wish a hex or a curse on anybody. As for bindings and banishings, to me that's more of a passive use of my magical abilities. I have bound people before. I have banished people before from my life or from a life of another. And the reasons were numerous. They had to deal with safety of those individuals, and it had to deal with making that person deal with their shit. So, yeah, I've done bindings and banishings, but I have never done a curse, and I have never seen a reason to do a curse, or even a hex. So, now, that's my 2 cents on the entire situation. In a video response to Kara, and as a response to the community out there who either has or hasn't seen this situation. So, as usual, if you are not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. If you haven't been to Christo-Paganism.com, be sure to go over there. Check out the prayer and praises section. Submit your prayers, either for yourself or for somebody else. Submit praises if you have something to rejoice about. And if you've prayed on something there, go ahead and click the I prayed for this button. And visit the shop while you're there. And some of the blog articles that I've written. And if you would like to stalk me, you can go ahead and do that on Twitter. I post some blogs that I come across. I post some inspirational quotes that I come across. I post about my day and just some general goings on. So go ahead and stalk me on Twitter if that is something you would like to do. Until next time, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye-bye.